Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I'm going to be stepping in as your workplace coach today to help you tackle a really major but totally hidden source of career burnout. Listen, if you've ever felt completely overwhelmed at work and couldn't quite trace exactly how your plate got so incredibly full, well, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, we're unpacking a behavioral psychology tactic that flies completely under the radar in most offices. But I promise you, once you understand how this works, you will literally never unsee it.
Okay, picture this. We've all had that sinking realization, right? You're sitting in a casual Tuesday morning stand-up meeting, just minding your own business, and then 10 minutes later, you walk back to your desk with a massive new project. And you're thinking, wait a minute, I didn't volunteer for this. I wasn't formally assigned this. Yet somehow, the weight of someone else's unfinished business has magically transferred right onto your shoulders. So how on earth does that happen?
It usually starts with these really innocent-sounding, super collaborative phrases. Things like, we are all in this together, or we need to figure this out. It sounds great, right? Like the gold standard of teamwork? Actually, scratch that. It's often a linguistic trap. You see, in any modern workplace, these are supposed to be the golden phrases of collaboration. But according to behavioral psychology research, these exact phrases are frequently weaponized. They're used to manufacture a shared burden before your brain even has a chance to process what's actually being asked of you.
So here is our playbook for today. We're going to cover 1. The false teamwork trap. 2. The anatomy of forced teaming. 3. The psychology of belonging. 4. Scenarios ranging from casual to manipulative. 5. Vague versus direct communication. And finally, 6. Setting healthy professional boundaries. Let's get right into it.
Starting off with Section 1, the false teamwork trap.
You know that feeling where you sit through a quick check-in, you're nodding along just to be polite, and then you leave realizing your entire weekend is just gone? Even though you never explicitly volunteered for extra work, that is the absolute hallmark of this trap. It doesn't happen with some loud, demanding order from across the room. No, it happens in the subtle nods, the agreeable silences, and those polite little smiles. You're just reacting like a good colleague, but the person you're talking to is fundamentally altering your workload completely without your consent.
Moving on to Section 2, the anatomy of forced teaming. To really stop this cycle, we have to know exactly what we're up against. This is a documented behavioral psychology tactic known as forced teaming. And the absolutely crucial thing to understand here is that it turns one person's poor planning into everyone's emergency, simply by changing the pronouns. It's incredibly effective because it skips the ask entirely. Think about it. Instead of saying, hey, can you help me with my problem? The manipulator just says, we have a problem. The very second they drop that we, it's like an invisible rope loops right around you, pulling you straight into their mess.
Which brings us to Section 3, the psychology of belonging.
Now, you might be wondering, why do smart, highly capable professionals fall for this so easily? Why don't we just stop and say, whoa, wait a second, what do you mean we? Well, the answer is actually locked deep inside human hardwiring. Behavioral psychology research shows that our deep-seated, innate instinct for group loyalty makes us highly vulnerable when we're in what feels like a collaborative environment. From an evolutionary standpoint, humans survived by sticking together. Being a team player isn't just corporate jargon, it's a primal survival mechanism. When someone brings up the group, our brains literally light up with this intense desire to belong, to help out, and to be valued by our tribe. But here's the catch. That powerful instinct gets completely hijacked the instant someone says we before they actually ask you anything directly. The language itself creates this false shared burden, entirely bypassing your critical thinking before you even realize you've been recruited. Your brain hears we and your instinct to help kicks into high gear way faster than your logical ability to say, hold on a minute, I definitely do not have the capacity for this. It's a total hijack of your empathy and your professionalism.
Okay, Section 4, scenarios from casual to manipulative. Let's look at how this plays out in the wild. Let's review the game tape with our first scenario, the boss's trap. Notice how the manager establishes this false shared burden right up front. They might start by saying, the department is struggling together. They're painting this vivid picture of a sinking ship where everybody has to grab a bucket, right? By making it feel like a shared crisis, the subsequent totally unreasonable request for unpaid weekend overtime suddenly feels like mandatory teamwork. By the time they ask for your Saturday, saying no makes you feel like you're betraying the whole team, even though you aren't the one who caused the struggle in the first place.
Then we have Scenario 2, the colleague's mess. This is when a coworker masks their own individual missed deadline as a shared team problem. They stand in your cubicle and sigh, man, we really need to figure this out.
Suddenly, their poor time management is your joint project. It's a brilliant, if manipulative way of getting you to do the practical labor for a mistake you had absolutely nothing to do with. You end up managing the stress and doing the heavy lifting, often just to preserve the working relationship.
Next up, Section 5, Vague versus Direct Communication.
Let's pivot to our defensive strategy by looking at the exact words people use. When you put these communication styles side by side, it is glaringly obvious how vague language hides the fact that there isn't a real request being made. A fuzzy phrase like, "This is something we are dealing with as a team," completely traps you. It's highly emotional and it's designed to make you feel obligated. But a direct statement like, "I miss my deadline and need you to cover this task," actually claims ownership. It empowers your right to say, "No, actually, I can't cover that right now." Make no mistake, vague language is the shield of the manipulator, while direct language is your sword for healthy boundaries.
And finally, Section 6, Setting Healthy Professional Boundaries. This is where we reclaim your autonomy. As your coach, I want you to take this checklist and mentally run every single vague team request right through it. This is your daily defense system. First, ask yourself, did I cause this problem? If the answer is no, proceed with extreme caution. Second, was I explicitly asked to help? Because if there's no direct ask, there's no actual agreement. Third, is this part of my actual job description? And lastly, and honestly most importantly, am I agreeing just to be a team player? Keep this checklist in your mental back pocket at all times.
But if you want the absolute best way to defend yourself, you need to pause and deploy the ultimate neutralizing question. Here it is. What exactly is being asked of me specifically? I want you to memorize that. What exactly is being asked of me specifically? The next time someone drops a heavy "we" on you, don't get defensive. Just calmly, professionally ask that question. It instantly forces a vague shared problem to become a clear, direct request. And let me tell you, it is amazing to watch how quickly the energy shifts in the room when the other person actually has to formulate a real request out loud.
Look, demanding clarity doesn't make you a bad teammate. Not at all. It actually protects your professional autonomy while preserving a genuinely healthy and collaborative team environment. True teamwork is built on mutual respect and explicit agreements, not on guilt trips and invisible ropes. When you force clarity, you are fiercely protecting your energy, which means you can actually be an effective, present teammate when real collaboration is required.
So I'll leave you with this to reflect on. Will you choose your professional autonomy the very next time someone says "we"? I really hope this explainer helps you confidently protect your time and energy in your next meeting. The next time you hear someone say, "We are all in this together," I want your critical thinking to kick in way before your guilt does. Choose your autonomy, demand specifics, and take back your workload. Catch you next time.